Ricky Mathews, good article on SuperTalk, a controversial topic regarding the sale of white-tailed deer to be placed in high fence enclosures is once again gaining some momentum after nearly a decade of hiatus. And apparently we are closer to that now, Ricky, than before, and we just kind of found this out. First of all, welcome to the show. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And lay the groundwork for this and so people will know what we're talking about.
Absolutely, Paul. I just learned about this last week. So I'm out reporting these days, do my show. And if people learn about issues, they let me know about them. And this issue sort of came to light to me last week. So I've had to do a lot of homework quickly. But I had James Cummings from Wildlife Mississippi on SuperTalk Outdoors yesterday. And what he said to me about this issue is very troubling. And since then, I've actually heard from a lot of people that this is, as you pointed out, this has been a fight that's been simmering for decades in Mississippi. And if the rumors that are out there are true, there's a lot to be concerned about. But let me kind of give you what's at the base of it. There are some rich and very politically connected deer breeders and high fence landowners who want this state to make it legal to sell white-tailed deer. And what I'd like to say these days is that now that I've really studied it, they want to become sort of the Joe Exotics of white-tailed deer in Mississippi, and they want to become deer kings. But we're early in the process. But I tell you, since the show yesterday, I've heard from a number of conservation leaders in our state who are incredibly concerned about this. And what essentially this will do is it would threaten Mississippi's wildlife heritage. And I say this all the time, but at the basis of our wildlife management efforts in Mississippi is the fact that all wildlife belong to the public, and that we've taken sort of a non-political, nonpartisan approach to managing wildlife in our state. And wildlife belong to people, not individuals.
Let me ask a couple of questions, because you said to sell deer. You're talking about hunting them or actually buying deer meat, but you're talking about selling the right to go and hunt. For a deer.
Well, it could be either hunting in high fence enclosed areas or selling the deer that are bred at high fence enclosed area. In other words, selling deer unfortunately
to increase the
canned deer hunts is what.
Yeah. To increase the genetic pool is what you're talking about, as far as some big bucks.
Yeah, they want they're already doing this. These high fence enclosed areas are already breeding deer now that are, supposedly creating better deer in terms of the antler growth, et cetera. But they want to sell them now. That's a major move from where we are today.
How many of these enclosed areas do we have in the state? Do you have any idea? Is there a map on this?
I don't know. There's a growing number of them, though. And but what I think is happening, that there are a few of them. There are a few of them that are leading the way. These are very politically connected folks. And, when I study this...
I have to ask you this question. Don't people already pay to come in and hunt there? Or do they not?
That's a good question. I did a search on that myself, and I think there are some high fence enclosed areas that allow people to go hunt there. So I think there's some confusion about that in the state currently already.
Tell me the legal part of this as far as the opinion from the Attorney General's office.
Well, essentially, first of all, Jim Hood previously issued an opinion that was very conservative, and protected Mississippi's wildlife heritage and the ability of the commission to sort of manage that. The most recent opinion came as a result of Lynn Fitch's opinion, which is much more narrow, but it essentially gives the commission the ability to make this decision. And this is very troubling. What's troubling is the process, Paul, that there hasn't even been a public debate or discussion about this, and we're already hearing they have the votes to pass this, which is really unfortunate. It raises a lot of questions. Did the recent commission members get selected based on their alignment with some of the people who are behind wanting this to happen? We don't know the answer to that. There's a lot about the process we don't know. Who are the quote unquote Joe Exotics of the Deer King arena who are behind this? Who's really pushing for this, and how connected are they? Will Lynn Fitch's, as you pointed out, will her opinion actually hold up in court? Because this will clearly get challenged if they vote to do this. It's been challenged all across the United States, and the reality now is that why would Mississippi go down this path now? It's going to cost the state millions and millions of dollars to defend ourselves. We don't need hunters fighting with hunters. The outdoors community need to be joining hands today. We don't need to be fighting with one another.
I'm not sure if you have, if there's a standard requirement within the confines of the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks for a public comment area period. But I would think on something this drastic, there would be, and you haven't seen one, have you?
No, but I heard yesterday, I have a lot of insiders that are talking to me today, and I heard yesterday that they would clearly not vote on this Thursday, that there has to be some comment period. There has to be a public discussion. But it's amazing to me that some commissioners already decide how they're going to vote on this before they even hear from the public. And really at the core of this is a North American wildlife conservation effort that Aldo Leopold, you've heard of him many times, he established this great approach to managing wildlife. That's at the basis of wildlife management in our state. That's why we've been able to bring back wild turkey and white-tailed deer all across the state. The average hunter knows that these management practices work really well. But making white-tailed deer sellable, that changes everything, and it would not be a good thing. It also makes managing things like CWD much more difficult. So we've really got to get our arms around this.
I was going to ask you about that because have the biologists chimed in? Have you discussed that with them?
Yeah, listen, yes, I think so currently, even on high fence areas, the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks has, those deer that are inside high fence belong to the public. Those also belong to the public. So the department has the ability to manage, whether it be CWD, manage regulations regarding the herd. They have all those capabilities today. However, if this passes, that will change, and that would be a Pandora's box that Mississippi doesn't want to go down. I can assure you that. I mean, I'm only early in this, but what I've already heard from conservation leaders, from people inside the department, from experts about this, read about this. Man, Texas is a mess. Missouri faced this, and Missouri, state Supreme Court ruled on it. States across the United States have dealt with this. But at the basis of our success is a wildlife management model that has worked extremely well. Why would we change that? And why would we have commissioners who don't support that approach? It's really puzzling to me.
I'm thinking back because we had the last time we talked about this, we were so concerned about chronic waste disease. And we also were concerned about some of these deer breaking out, crossbreeding, what happens there because of the genetics, what can stand, what can't stand, all of this stuff. In something in the back of my mind, I'm wondering if you made any transition like that, would you not have to have the stamp of approval from the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks before a sale like that took place?
It's a big question mark. Managing not just CWD, but other diseases will be much more difficult.
You're going to stay on this story, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate it so very, very much. And thank you for bringing it to the attention of not only this audience, but the entire state. Ricky, thank you, man. Appreciate it very much. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Take care, my friend.
We don't see you again before Christmas. That is Ricky Mathews, SuperTalk host of Coast Vue and SuperTalk Outdoors, and just put that on your agenda to keep